You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about discovering who you are. Don't we all want to figure out who are we and what are we meant to do in the world, right? That's kind of our goal. So today we're going to be talking about that topic, and feel free to call in at 800-333-0001. I'll be standing by and taking your calls. Also, we're going to be joined in our next segment by Katie Hill, our inspirational guest. And her story is really awesome because she's a transgender woman. She was born a boy, Luke, yet today she's Katie. And she's going to tell us about that journey and how she had to discover who she was. Now, if you want to hear this show again, just go to livingfullout.com. All of our episodes will be waiting there for you. Or if you have Alexa, you can check us out there. Or go to your app stores. If you have an iPhone or Android, just look up Living Full Out Radio Show, and we'll be there to keep you motivated on the go. So again, we're talking about discovering who you are today. In fact, I'm getting word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. We'll go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
So this past 4 months, it's been a little bit crazy at work. And I've been doing it's actually a 2-man or 3-man job, and it's been so overwhelmed that I've been doing everything by myself, and it gets to the point that I wish I just, could open the door and just run away from all the problems and all that stress. So at this point, I really don't know what to do.
You know what? Grab my hand. Let's run. Let's do it. No, I'm kidding. You can't run, right? You can't. But here's what I do want to empower you to do. And maybe you've already started this, but maybe you haven't. Have you chatted with your manager, your supervisor?
I've actually tried, but the only answer I get is that they're working on it, but I actually don't see nothing being done.
And you know what? It might not be done. Nothing could be going on. So what you want to do is you always want to remember, for as much as we want to believe in people and always give them the benefit of the doubt, always give them time to hold to their word and do what they're going to say. In this case, they said they were working on it, but you're not seeing anything. At that point, you kind of have to up the ante for yourself, because this is your life experience, right? If you give 110% of yourself and you're playing the part of 3 different people, then in every other area of your life, you're going to be depleted, right? It means you're not getting any deposits into your emotional bank, into your positive bank. You're just giving, and that's going to wear you out. That's not going to allow you to live full out in life. So what I want you to consider are a couple things. Number one, with this supervisor that you've been chatting with, think about what is the best communication method that you can reach them. Okay, meaning that maybe you've tried talking to them, but maybe it goes in one ear and out the other. Maybe what you need to do is email them, fax them, write a formal letter, maybe officially mail it to them. And that's going to document your final attempt at that level. Then from there, you need to go to that person's boss or even the owner of the company. And if you talk from a place of integrity and a place of being an employee who really appreciates the company, but quite frankly, you feel not supported, no owner, no really good manager is going to ignore that. They're going to be impressed. They're going to be inspired. They're going to want more of you, which is probably why they have you doing the job of 3, right?
I'm pretty sure.
When you up the ante, it's not that you're going over that person's head or trying to cut them out. You've actually documented via email or an official letter that you've tried to reach out to them, and you're kind of at the end of your rope in the most friendly way you can say it. Then from there, you got to find out who their manager is, who the owner is. Same thing. Try to document things in the world of oral conversations. We can't timestamp when we had it. We can't go back and in black and white see what we said. So I think email, fax, or a letter is going to be your best way to go. And then after you've done that, well, if everybody ignores you, then you have to decide for yourself, is this my home? Is this where I want to give all my time? But I think you have a few more steps in there before you have to kind of put your hands in the air and give up. Do you agree?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. But you know what the good thing is? The power is within you.
Yeah.
Don't give it away. Don't let them take it from you. Don't let them wear you out. Take your power back. Be proud of who you are. Be that giving employee that you are. But also really let them know, hey, here's where I'm at in black and white. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. I believe in you. Call in, let us know how things go, or reach out to us, outside the show if you need more support, okay? Because I think I think great things are going to come your way. Okay?
Thanks for your help.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in. I love that he called in about that because he's just kind of trying to discover who he is as an employee, outside of his work. But how can you step in and really own who you are in the world and your purpose and your goals if you're wearing yourself out? Great question that he asked. In fact, I'm getting a word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, my name is Bekah.
Hi, Bekah. Thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
Okay, so I got into a disagreement with one of my friends a few weeks ago, and we both said some things, and we kind of just forgot about it and moved on. But I just want to know, how do I properly communicate with my friend that they said something pretty hurtful?
I love that you're asking this question because you're actually giving us all a lesson right now that the words we choose, we have to be careful of what we say. So I'm so glad you brought this up. And everybody listening today to Bekah, this caller, she is asking a great question. And it means so much in terms of our ability to live full out and have strong relationships. So thank you for calling in on this, first of all. The thing is you want to go to that friend and you want to let them know, when we had our conflict, this is what you said to me, and it really hurt me. And it hurt me because. So you want to talk in the way of I feel, I felt. Where you want to stay away from is saying the you words. You did this to me. I think you, I assume you, right? Because we're never in somebody's head. We're never in somebody's heart. So when you have this conversation, it's I felt this way when you said those words. I feel this way today. Okay? And when you talk in the place of I, there is nowhere for that person to go. Because you're not actually coming at them. You're not doing anything like that. You're just talking your truth. Do you see that?
Exactly. Thank you.
Then you want to listen to what they say. And if they apologize, and it's a sincere apology, then your relationship has a lot of growth in it. If they stay in the place of conflict and they come up with excuses, you might need to figure out, where does that friendship lie in terms of your ability to really be intimate, open, maybe, we have different level of friendships. We have some that are more surfacey and others that we might turn to with our innermost thoughts, right? So listen for what that person says. Are they that friend that you can confide in? Or maybe are they more of an acquaintance and that surface friendship? So it's all going to be in what they say back to you. Do you see that?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. I love that she called in about that question because she too is trying to discover who she is in that relationship. How is that going to go? Is that person going to be combative and defensive? And I didn't say that. Or is that person going to come to her and say, you know what? I am so sorry. You're like one of my best friends and I would never hurt you. It'll be really interesting to see how that shakes out. But most of all, it starts with us asking the question of, how can I be better? How can I express my thoughts? So that is part of discovering who we are. Because we can think in our mind, I want to be this person. I have a vision for my life that looks like this. But if you keep it all in your mind and you keep it all in your heart and in your soul and you never talk about it, then you're not able to express yourself. So part of discovering who you are is putting out there verbally, this is what I want in life. This is the way I want to be treated. This is the way I don't want to be treated, right? It all starts with getting that out of our mind, out of our heart, and just verbalizing it. And then, of course, taking action. So I want you to think about over the course of the show today, what do you want in life? Let's discover who you are, your purpose, your talents. So stay with us. We're going to be coming right back after this break with our inspirational guest, Katie Hill, talking about being transgender and how she discovered who she is today as a woman. Stay with us. It's a really impressive story. You don't want to miss it. Again, I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about discovering who you are. And that can take a lifetime. We don't always know it as children. We try to strive and figure it out as teenagers and young adults. But honestly, I have quite a few clients in their 70s and 80s who are still trying to figure it out. So just put on your seatbelt and buckle up, because that's the journey. That's what it means to live full out. You just don't know what's coming, but you embrace it with arms wide open. And our inspirational guest today, Katie Hill, is such a great example of what it means to live full out. And she really has been literally on that same journey that I was talking about in discovering who she was, going from being a boy to a girl to today a woman. And yes, she's transgender, but she is loving her life and she's discovering who she is even today. So I'd like to welcome Katie to the show. Hi, Katie. Welcome to the show. Oops, I think we lost her there for a second. I'll wait till my producer lets me know that she's back. So we'll be joined shortly with Katie Hill. But until then, as we wait for Katie, I want you to think about, again, what are you trying to discover in terms of who you are? It might be discovering what type of career path you want to have, or what hobbies you want to learn, or what type of relationship you want. We're all trying to figure out just all of those different dynamics that build who we are as a person. And once you kind of have an inkling as to what you want, and you have that goal or vision in mind, now it's putting that plan of action into play. You want to think about, as you're discovering who you want to be, what resources might you meet? What people might you need to turn to? Do you have to go back to school? Maybe have a professor that can inspire you or teach you for what you want to be? Maybe what you need is more resources, such as a car, or maybe a certain geographical location that you might need to be in to thrive. Maybe you need to learn a new hobby. Or again, when it comes to relationships, who are you in that relationship? Are you somebody that is passive? Are you an aggressive one? And deciding, is that who you are today serve you in being who you want to be? That's the big jump. I know for myself, being legally blind, I've really had to figure out, who am I in this world? Because I can't see who I am or what that looks like, but I always keep in my mind that mental vision for what I think I look like. When I hear myself talk, for how I think people perceive me. And when you use your inner voice as a guide, now you're able to really tap into who you are. It's no longer just about discovering, it's living in the moment and becoming that version of you want to be. Now, I am getting word from our producer that we have Katie back, so I'll welcome Katie back to the show.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you for having me back. Sorry, the line's a little...
No worries. I knew I'd hear that sweet voice eventually. It's all good. So, Katie, I want to kind of take our audience back a bit, because you were born Luke, and a cute boy at that. You were a cute boy and you're a pretty woman, so you lucked out. But growing up as Luke, it just didn't feel like the right fit. I mean, you saw yourself as a boy, but you had parts of you that really wanted to be a girl and liked girl things. And how did you discover or figure out and verbalize that to, like, your parents?
Well, I would say I didn't actually discover it. It would be the same thing as if I asked any normal person, well, how did you know that you were a girl? Or how did you know you were a boy? Most people would just respond with, I just knew. Or, I didn't really figure that out. It was just something that was always a part of me, something that I grew up with. People told me I was this. And it was kind of the same way with me. My family, my friends told me that I was a boy, but at the same time, it didn't ever feel right. I kind of rejected that idea from a very young age. And especially once I hit puberty and I started developing female characteristics, that it really hit me that what people were telling me was incorrect. And this feeling that I had inside of me all these years, for 15 years, that I was a woman, was actually the truth. That's who I actually was. And it just took me 15 years to finally start listening to myself.
Now, when you were growing up as a child, Were you expressive about this? I mean, I know you were to your mom, but once you started to kind of figure it out a little bit more, but I know you were bullied quite a bit. You were misunderstood. Can you share with us some of those experiences?
Right. I did definitely express it. I mean, I was into your stereotypical boy things as a kid. I was always outside. I talked about airplanes and riding bicycles, and I played in the mud, and I did typical boy things. But at the same time, I was always very feminine. The way I would sit, the way I would talk, almost every aspect of me was just like a little girl that was just enjoying boy things. I didn't really fit in with that masculine idea. But and people noticed that all the way through grade school, middle school, high school. People would look at me and they would see that I was very feminine. People would see the way that I would sit, and I wouldn't, spread my legs out. I would cross my legs every time. The way I use my hands, the way I talk with my hands, my hobbies, just everything, even down to the way my voice is. The way I sound now. I've never taken voice lessons. I've never did anything to alter my voice. It was always very high-pitched, very feminine, with feminine tones, feminine prose, and everyone picked up on that. I'd have people even in high school coming up to me and asking me direct, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And
wow.
No matter which way I would answer that question, it would get me in trouble. I'd be bullied. If I said I was a boy, people would make fun of me for being feminine. And if I said I was a girl, people would make fun of me for being too masculine, for being a girl. So it was kind of a lose-lose situation in this time.
Well, I remember you sharing with us about the night that you were online doing research and you saw the words transgender and what that meant. And that was a game changer for your life.
It was.
And
Absolutely.
So when you realized you were transgender, there was that kind of like the, aha, I knew it moment.
Right. At this point, I had been to a dozen or so psychiatrists, psychologists, and I was diagnosed with pretty much everything under the sun. I had multiple personality disorder. I had schizophrenia. I had depression. I had anxiety. I had, you name it. I pretty much had it. So I thought, the way that they had diagnosed me. But once I figured out I was trans, the antisocial behaviors that I had exhibited, all the symptoms that I had exhibited from depression and antisocial personality disorder, whatever that they diagnosed me with, pretty much went away. And it was just a sudden realization that I wasn't crazy. I didn't have all these disorders. It was just this one thing. And the moment I realized that, and I started acting in my true self, and I started going to therapy for being trans, all the other symptoms, all the other problems that were facing me just disappeared almost overnight.
Wow, isn't that amazing? I mean, I applaud that because you were the one that took initiative to hunt online for discovering who you are and why you feel this way. And I'm not saying doctors don't have their place, but it was really you trusting your instincts. So, Katie, I want you to stay with us because we do have to take a commercial break. But, I mean, your story just continues to unfold into becoming Katie Hill, who she is today. So I want you to stay with us. And everybody, we're going to be coming right back. Again, we're talking about today discovering who you are and really going after that, embracing the you within. So I want you to stay with us. We'll be coming right back after this break. I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. Today we're talking about discovering who you are. And our inspirational guest today, although born as a boy, Luke, she actually discovered who she was and understanding what transgender meant and really was able to step into becoming Katie Hill. So I'd like to welcome Katie back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Good to be back.
Absolutely. And Katie, thank you so much for sharing with us about your discovery into what transgender meant and realizing that that was what you were going through. That was who you were. And I know that with all of that, there's the decisions of hormones and surgery and just how to start that process. And I think you did do a surgery, but I'm not sure if you want to share with us like how intensive it was or what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind at all. Okay. I only had the one surgery, and that was bottom surgery, vaginoplasty, and it's about as painful as it sounds. I never really had any reservations about it, though. Hormones and the name change, getting new clothes, all of that happened within 6 months of me coming out. And then once pretty much 3 days after I turned 18, I had the surgery. And I've heard lots of stories from other trans people about being scared before they go in or being nervous or, because there's no coming back. But I never, ever had that moment. I was very dead set on my goal. I went in and I told them, put me on a stretcher right now. I don't care. As soon as I flew into California, I said, let's go to the hospital now. Let's get it done. And of course, it took a couple of days to get everything organized and all the paperwork finished. But I woke up from the surgery, and it was very interesting because I assumed that after the surgery, all those problems that I had facing as a kid, all the bullying, all the scars that I have been developing for years and years and years up to that point would go away, or they'd be somehow alleviated because now I was a woman. I physically, I had completed the transformation. But it was really interesting because at that moment, right after I finished my surgery, I realized that it wasn't the body of a woman that made me a woman. I'd been Katie all along. I actually remember crying after looking at myself in the mirror because I realized that I had gone through all of this, all the surgery and the hormones, and I'd gone through all of these tribulations trying to convince myself that I was woman enough to be accepted in the real world, to be accepted by the general population. And it was a realization that I always deserved that respect. I always deserved to be recognized as a person and as a woman, regardless of what I look like or what my body looked like or what surgeries I'd been through. And it was
that's very powerful, Katie. That's very powerful because, we're talking today about discovering who you are. And I get that moment, you were always that person, and it's not like a snap that it all occurs, the emotional, the physical and everything. But that's what we're, focusing on today is, how do you get from point A to point B? And then who are those supporters along the way? And I know that after you transitioned, your very first romantic relationship was with another transgender person. And can you share with us how that dynamic was?
It was an exception to the rule. My mom always joked about me dating somebody else who was trans, and I tell her, no, that's not what I want. But it just kind of happened that way. Life throws you curveballs sometimes that you don't expect. Things that you said would never happen, and they happen almost instantaneously, right around the corner.
So Aaron was born a girl, and he wanted to become a male, just like you were born a boy and you wanted to become a female. What an interesting camaraderie that you both had in each other. You felt each other's journeys.
Understanding each other. This world wants somebody to say, I understand what you're going through. Not I empathize with what you're going through, but I understand completely. And the boyfriends I had up to that point and the friends I had made up to that point could only look at me and say, I'm sorry that you're going through this, or I'm sorry you're feeling dysphoric. I'm sorry that you feel this way. None of them could truly look at me and say, I understand how you feel. And Aaron was the first person. He and I could look at each other when we felt bad about ourselves, or when we felt dysphoric, or when we felt disgusting in our own bodies, or whatever it would be. And we could help each other. We could look at each other and say, I understand the pain that you're going through. I acknowledge it. And here's my advice for how to get over it, how to get through it.
Beyond your interview, beyond your relationship with Aaron, though, as you opened yourself up to other men, were you rejected by some men when they found out, the truth of how you began your life, or did you find that most men were supportive?
I would find that most were actually very supportive. Of course, I had some rejection. It's a very unusual thing. I think anybody who's not an unusual situation is kidding themselves. It's unusual, and I recognize that. And so I've always been very adamant about telling my partners before anything serious would happen, because I think it's important for them to know. But all of my relationships, all of my serious relationships, I've been completely honest and straightforward with them, and they've all been very, very supportive of it.
Oh, that's so great to know that we can just be open, we can be authentic, and know that people will be arms wide open to accept who we are. And there's been and there's been other transgender folks who have stepped into the spotlight after you. For example, most people know Caitlyn Jenner. And I'm just wondering, when you consider those people who have stepped into the spotlight, who have also made that transition, do you feel like they've done it in a way that, is respectful, does speak on behalf of the entire trans community? Or do you feel like it's not that exactly the truth?
Well, I don't think any single individual should represent the entire community. I have my opinions on Caitlyn Jenner, as does everybody else who's trans or in the LGBT community. I have my opinions on many of the other trans people who are in the spotlight or who are celebrities. But even I don't think my word and my experience should be a representation of everybody who transitions. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own stories, their own experiences, their own way that they want to express their gender and their own habits and norms. Like, some trans people don't feel like they should tell their partners about being trans. And I respect that. I don't agree with it, but I respect it. I don't think, what I believe is having any representation is good. Even if it's not in the most positive light, at least it gets the word out there. It gets people talking about it. After the Caitlyn Jenner, after she came out, it was a household conversation. I would walk around in rural Tulsa, Oklahoma, middle of the Bible Belt, Republican people sitting down at a restaurant, and I would overhear their conversations about it. And even though they might not have been the most positive, at least there was conversation.
At least we were talking. Exactly.
At least you were talking about it. Exactly.
And it's been interesting because you went through so much of this as a child, as a teenager, as a young woman. And that's where the media, was interviewing you left and right. And there was just so much attention to your story. And I know others have come out, since you were in that spotlight. But I also know it's been kind of hard for you in discovering who you are today, because there was so much of a frenzy in the beginning. And once that media silences, once, there aren't so many interviews, how do you discover who Katie is today? Who is she?
I mean, I'm still very, very young. And to be honest, I don't really know. You're right. It was, and it still is difficult sometimes, because I was in the spotlight pretty much since I was 15 years old. And I enjoyed the excitement, being able to travel. I definitely was not bored. I was always busy. I was always doing something. And now that I'm only 24 years old, I can't believe how young I am, I have to deal with normal people issues. I think normal people, I have to deal with bills and finding a good career for myself, whether if and when I want to start a family. And those stressors are also momentous. Before I thought transitioning was momentous, or writing a book for a famous publishing company was momentous, but just dealing with the everyday modernity is momentous. And that realization is very important, a very important lesson for me right now. I'm planning on moving here to the West and going and deciding if I want to continue, if I want to get into a marriage, or I'm trying to figure those things out. And even though those are mundane, they're not within the celebrity and the limelight that I'm used to, momentous, and I can feel that those are going to have lasting lessons for me in the future. And then from then, I don't know, we'll see what life throws at me, but I'm confident that I'll be able to learn something from it and grow as a person every single day.
Well, it's interesting because you went through the transition of, being a boy, being Luke, to, learning what transgender was, to becoming Katie Hill, and now you're transitioning again, really reinventing yourself again. Who are you in this world as a professional, as a woman? And I think as we round out this interview, what final word do you have? We have only 30 seconds here, but what final words do you have for our community in understanding someone who's trans?
That they're pretty much just like you. I mean, just you said it best, and you said we're all kind of transitioning. Every single person that you see around you, even yourself, we're all going through some kind of change on every single basis, whether it's something mundane and simple, something you go through into another gender. They're slightly different, but all in all, it's confusing. It doesn't make sense. It's complicated. And the best thing that you can do for the people who are going through change is just to support them, whether it's a job change or a marriage or a move, or if you're transitioning from one gender to the other. just support each other, understand each other, even if you don't accept it all the way. Just try to see it from their viewpoint. Try to help them along in their journey. That's all you really can do.
Great
just be positive
advice.
and supporting.
Yeah. No, that's really great advice because that's really all we can do. So thank you, Katie, so much for being on the show today, being that voice, being that powerhouse that you are, and keep us posted. Where Katie Hill goes, nobody knows, but that's the exciting adventures, just discovering who you are. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thanks for having me, Nancy.
You're welcome. Thank you. And everybody, when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls again. So just as Katie's been trying to evolve and understand who she is, we're all doing that. I'm raising my hand. I am too. So call in. That's 800-333-0001. I'm standing by. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and it's all about discovering who you are. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll,
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
Discovering who you are always starts with the inside outward. Figure out what is your passion, what is your heart's desire. Then from there, you want to let it resonate through your body. Express yourself to others. Really go after resources that you need to attain your goals. That is when you're living full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about discovering who you are, your place in the world, the relationships you want to have, the job you want to have, you name it. But it doesn't happen in a snap. It is meant to be discovered. It's the journey of life. And so, honestly, everybody who's called in today, all the way to our inspirational guests, we're all in it together. And that's what this community is for. So I'm actually getting word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. We're going to go check in with them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, I had a question.
Yes.
I was wondering how you can deal with family problems that affect your personal security and also the way you feel about them.
Can you just give me a little bit more specifics? Who in your family are you having the biggest confrontation with at this time?
I guess I would have to say my parents.
Your parents. And why is there that rub? Why is there that conflict?
Well, they are going through a divorce, so there's a lot of anger in them, but they're putting their anger towards their daughters.
Okay. And first of all, my parents got divorced when I was 10, so my heart goes out to you. That's not easy. So first of all, I want to acknowledge that, because watching your parents separate, it's a really hard process. You know, you wish they could stay together, but at the same time, you want the fighting to stop, right? That noise.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword. But at the same time, when they come at you and they're angry and maybe they're projecting that sadness and that anger onto you, how does that make you feel?
I feel like I'm getting involved in a problem that I shouldn't be in. It's almost unfair.
Mm-hmm. And have you expressed that to them?
I think they know, and it's almost like unspoken communication.
Never assume. Do you see the key word that you said there? I think they know. Mm-hmm. So I think and I assume are very scary gray zones to be in. Okay? These are your parents. They're going through a lot emotionally themselves. I would find the best communication method for each of them. It may be different. You know, one may be more of a face-to-face, hold their hand, cry session, talk it out session, or somebody else, the best way to communicate with them may be an email, a letter. But what I would really do is I would get all of this out of your mind, out of your heart, and express it. Again, it could be verbally or it could be written. And when you do this, you want to acknowledge, first of all, each person differently. So don't write the letter. Don't express it to each parent. Let's say your mom. Don't talk about your dad to your mom. It's all about, I'm so sorry, Mom, that you're going through this. Like, in a perfect world, I wish I had a magic wand and I could make all your problems go away. But at the same time, I'm your daughter and I want to stay your daughter, not your therapist, right? Mm-hmm. I want to be a soft place for you to fall, but I also want to be that outlet for you. It's hard to be the outlet and be the therapist at the same time, right? Right. And so when you tell her this, she's going to get it. She doesn't know it right now because there's so much noise and she's kind of in her own fog. But if you come to her again in the communication method that you think she will get it best, so you know your parents best, I would give one more attempt. And personally, I I really believe in written communication, maybe for something like this, because then you can have multiple drafts of what you want to say, get it perfect. Because the thing about oral is sometimes you have a conversation and then you're like, oh, I wish I had said this, or I wish I had said that differently. Whereas in a written form, you can get it just right before you give it to them. But I do believe if you do that, you're going to take your power back, and you just want to make that distinction that I want to be your daughter, that person you're proud of, that outlet for you to, somebody to go to the movies with, right? And I don't want to be a place where you don't look at me and it's painful, but it's hopeful. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I believe in you. Hang in there. Thank you so much for calling in. And for everybody today who called in, honestly, I give them so much credit because we are all about discovering who we are. Even that last caller, she wants to step in and be the daughter and the woman that she wants to be. But she can't do that if she's being pulled down by so much sadness. So I'm so proud of her for finding her voice and stepping up today and reclaiming that. And we all need to do that as we decide and choose who we want to be. Now, I want to make sure that if you want to hear today's show again, go to livingfullout.com. All the episodes are waiting there for you. Remember that if you have Alexa, you can check us out there or go to your app stores to hear us on the go. Our entire Living Full Out family is dedicated to making sure that you're supported. We have Rich and Aaron and Brianna and Camille and Riley and everybody who just wants to make sure that you just tell those doubts, those insecurities, those haters in your life, step away because there's a new sheriff in town. That's you. And it's all about discovering who you want to be and really going for life in a big way. It all starts within, so you set the tone. Don't let others pull you off your path. Just stay on course, and if you need us, we're right here for you. Most of all, here's to you all living your lives full out. Again, I believe in you, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.